What's up, everybody? Just finished watching Fantastic Four First Steps. Y'all know I kind of do the teacher scale. I would give this one probably a high B. It's a 85 or above. Doesn't quite, to me, doesn't quite get an A. Uh, I'll kind of go over some of that, give the reasons why. First, this is the first time we got the Fantastic Four in the new Marvel universe. Of course, there's been multiple ones in the past. I kind of like the first two when they rebooted it. I didn't really care for the reboot, but we got another reboot here in the new MCU, and I thought it was really good. Some of the good points. They did this. Of course, it's part of the multiverse, and they did this. It is a different Earth. It ain't the main Earth that we are seeing in the movie time span, or however you want to put it. This is one of the multiverse Earths. It's another one, and I really, really like the vibe. You know, it's got this 60s, I guess it's 60s vibe. All of the spaceships and the cars, everything in the house has a really cool look to it. It reminds me a little bit almost of like the Fallout video game. You know, it's like a alternate type universe back in that time, and the world is so cool because we're so used to the futuristic or the world like we have today, and I really, really like that old school vibe with the new world. Even the advertisements and the logos and the stuff you see, it's really neat. So the world to me is cool. It jumps right into the Fantastic Four, though. You do get a little bit of a. It's kind of at the beginning. It's not really spoiling much. You already know who the Fantastic Four is, probably, but they do a really good job using like an old school newscast to kind of. They're like celebrating the Fantastic Four, and they remind you who they are, what they've done, how they got their powers. I thought it was kind of neat them doing that, doing their origin story in that little newscast. I really like the newscast. I like the whole again. I like the whole vibe of the world, and of course, sometime they're going to get into the whatever big bad. I believe it's Doctor Doom. The Avengers Doomsday, and they're going to be brought in. So we'll see how we'll end up seeing how that happens. But the world, I didn't really know how I was going to feel about the characters, especially. I don't know. Johnny Storm, the Human Torch, was the one that kind of I was a little bit worried about. Just some of the stuff I've seen in the trailers. He wasn't really feeling it. He is a jokester in the movie, and I did like him, but he's not as good as like Chris Evans, in the other ones. He's not as out there and wild. He does it a little bit, but I feel like they toned him down a little bit, and I wish they wouldn't have done that. The Thing, I did like the actor of The Thing. I liked his story. I don't like his design. They've gave him this huge unibrow type thing, and I don't think it works. I believe the older design, again, in those first two movies, I believe it looked better. I wish. I don't know. There's something about that brow they gave him. I didn't really care about. But as far as his arc and his characters it's good. I enjoyed him. There is some goofiness with him later on in the movie. Something that happens with his face. I didn't really care about. Again, it's you gotta let some of the stuff go. There are some things in it to me that doesn't make sense. I know it's a superhero movie, and I reviewed Superman not too long ago. I said I love the comic book part of it. How the supernatural. This one has that too, but it's within that Marvel world. So some of the silliness to me almost didn't compute, but it's still fine. It was still okay. Reed Richards, Pedro Pascal's Reed Richards, he did a fine job. It was good. It's kind of weird though. They don't really use his powers much, which his powers are kind of, to me, they're kind of silly. He's got that elastic and he can stretch. There's really, on that note of not using his powers much, there's really not a whole lot of action in this movie till almost the very end. It's a lot of storytelling and building, and it's really it's really about family. And I thought it was good. I ended up really, really liking the story. It stands apart on its own, even though the end credit scenes is what's gonna you see something happen that brings it into the multiverse, the big picture. But as far as just on its own, it was good. I do like that. I think it needed to have a good story to contain it on its own, and with it being in a new world, that's one reason it was really good. Uh, It talks about some of their villains that in the little newscast at the beginning. One of them is a guy named Mole Man, and he ends up playing a part. But I think it's like they rushed him. I feel like they rushed him. He could have been a better character. Of course, the movie's around. I think it's around 2 hours long. I guess they didn't want to get too long with it, but it almost feels like that they cut. I believe they cut some of his stuff out because you can see it's just kind of weird. His How quickly they talk about him, then how he kind of helps to me that they kind of rushed his arc a little bit. Of course, y'all have seen the Silver Surfer that they did use the female version of the Silver Surfer. It's like Shia LaBeouf or something like that. Most people's used to the male Silver Surfer. You know, we've seen that in the other movies. Lot of controversy over that. It was fine. It didn't really bother me that much. It is kind of, we're just used to seeing the male most of the time, even though that isn't a comic, but it was a really short run, short story. But it played well. She did fine. You know, there's not really a whole lot you can do with the Silver Surfer. I do think part of her story though was kind of rushed, like the outcome and what ends up happening with her. It seems like it wasn't a whole lot of build up there, and kind of the way they learn to talk to her happens really fast too. It's like, nah, I don't really. It's almost not believable. That's why I knock it some. That there's a couple things in it. And again, I know it's superhero stuff, but I still like it, even though it's superhero stuff. I like it to still make some sense to me. Uh, she was fine. She was just okay. And then of course we got Sue Storm. I've been hearing people saying she becomes the main hero and all this stuff. I didn't really see that. To me, they're all working together, doing their thing. But you will see why they do place a big emphasis on her. And I didn't know nothing about it, so I'm not going to spoil it. It makes sense. She is kind of stepping out on the scene and doing the things she does. So don't listen to none of that. They're saying they're trying to twist it and make her the main leader and all of that. To me, they were working all together. Reed Richards was still super smart, figuring things out. But you see it in the confines of a family. And overall, I'm telling you, it's a really good movie. Is it better than Superman? I don't think so. I think Superman's a lot more lighthearted, a lot more fun. But this is also a really good movie. And I think you should check it out. But that's all I'm going to say about it. I'd love to hear what y'all thought about it. If you went and saw it, I'd love to put it in the comments. Tell me what you think. But I do think if you're still into the Marvel, into the superhero stuff, and even if you don't know a whole lot about the other Marvel stuff, you can watch this one because it's not really connected like some of the other ones have been. It's a great standalone story. But if you haven't seen Superman, I'd check that one out first. But then you could come back and check out this. But I applaud Marvel on this one. I think they did a good job. Thanks for watching. Hope y'all have a great one.